don't say, and no one wants to say it, that there's 1% of the people out there that just don't respond to anything except police officers, and that are going to come with them in a very decisive way and take them where they need to go. And that's just the only thing they understand.
They have banned, that is the banning, like you said, you were on the phone call when they banned no-knock warrants.
Change has to have a reason, right? Like, you have to really understand what you're doing. You just can't blanket everything by doing away with these things because that's what people think you should do.
The opinions expressed here do not necessarily reflect those of our sponsors.
Blu Wolf Podcast.
This episode of the Blu Wolf Podcast is brought to you by Blue Line Professional Inspections. Check out blinspections.net for all your inspection needs, including home inspection, wood-destroying insect inspection, sewer drain inspection, and on-site water treatment inspection. Blue Line is a first responder-owned business.
We are concerned, and you and I got together, and it was something that weighed on your mind particularly, and it's always weighed on my mind too, as do so many other things that have changed in this alleged new way of policing. Reimagining policing. Well, bullshit is what it is. We said already that no-knock warrants are forbidden. So in the true sense, though, not knock and talks, but knock and announce. If you knock and announce, okay, which means we're requiring somebody from inside the location to come and talk to us, and we let them know that we have a warrant signed by a magistrate. So we have a warrant, right? Signed by a magistrate. And we're asking to be civil. Would you let us in? And they deny us warrants, or deny us entry. We still can't make entry, right? In the San Antonio Police Department.
So there's a policy, and it's a word soup. It's so jumbled that you can't figure it out, right? You have it, I think.
Yes.
And it talks a little bit about it. And one is, I think the first part says, no one will submit a request for a no-knock warrant. Well, when we submit warrant requests, we don't specify.
Let me read that.
Yeah.
So it's in the general manual, search procedure. Members of the San Antonio Police Department are prohibited from applying for or participating in the service of no-knock search warrant entries. When entering private premises, officers shall knock, announce their identity, and demand admittance. They then wait a reasonable amount of time to be admitted and explain their purpose if so requested. Okay, so they have banned, that is the banning, like you said, you were on the phone call when they banned the no-knock warrants.
Can I make
sure? Yeah.
Phone call? Because I think it's important to note that not everybody in the police department agrees about everything all the time, right? It's like, it's a workplace, right?
Sure.
That's what it is. But on this phone call, there was everybody on the command staff in 2020. So everybody, the chief of police, 2 assistant chiefs, 5 deputy chiefs, one interim. Every captain that had to do with that area responsible, and every lieutenant that had to do that. And then, of course, a couple of the chiefs. Harvey. And so I think there might have been a city attorney on there. And we were talking about this. And there were a lot of people that really kind of placated to whatever McManus wanted. Like, no matter what he said was they were going to do it. That's probably why they were in those positions. They didn't ruffle any feathers. They didn't ask any questions. They didn't try to do it was. But my point on this was that every person to a team, man or woman, every one of them said, because the chief posed the question somewhere like this, I'm paraphrasing, so doesn't matter. You probably won't remember the phone call anyway if you would ask him, but it would probably be like, so this has come up repeatedly, no-knock warrants. I need y'all's opinion on how we should. So I'm the deputy chief, interim deputy chief over covert operations. And I am also the captain that's in that role, but covert operations have been there for a couple of years, right? So it probably affected our area of responsibility, whether our area of responsibility more than anyone else's, but maybe SWAT. Hit every person to a T. Now, some were very emphatic. Oh, absolutely, yes, we shouldn't ban these. And some were like, well, chief, I really believe that this is a great tool for us. Every person on that phone call said, we should retain the ability to use this tool at electricity.
Right.
And he still changed.
Why do you think that was?
Because he did what he always does. He folds.
Who did he fold to?
To the political pressures. He folds every time. He got here in 2006, and every time there's an opportunity for him to stand tall and be a cop and not a politician, he folds.
So the political pressure is obviously not national necessarily. That's where it starts, but within the city, from the city government.
But in a lot of ways, it is national, because it's not only coming from the national arena. It comes down through local congressmen and local city council people who know congressmen, special interest groups that are now calling in.
Oh.
The chief is synonymous for giving his phone number to anybody out there he wants to. The thing about what people don't know, he doesn't know who you are, doesn't care who you are.
Yeah.
The minute you call him, he calls us. Handle this. And so really what he's doing is just giving it to us in order to handle it. But this particular thing was really being pushed by the councilwoman out of two. And then, so an interesting story, and I don't know any of these people. Like, I have no bone to pick with these people, but if you're going to say it, I'm going to hold you to it. So Anna Sandoval, right, who's in District 7. And I remember, because we're watching them, right? We're on these Zooms, 2020 Zoom calls, right? Everybody's like, there's nobody even in the room.
Yeah.
And so, she's on there, and she's on the Public Safety Committee. And the Public Safety Committee is an entity of City Council that listens to the public safety aspect and then goes back and make recommendations to the General Counsel. So it'd be like a subgroup, right? You get the information and you bring this group to us. So it's an important job.
Yeah.
So one day we're on the phone call, not the same phone call referenced earlier about the internal phone call. This is an external phone. And the chief decides to give a definition on what a no-knock warrant is. And it's, he paraphrased, right? He went wrong. Basically you get an affidavit, search warrant, and you go, and the police don't have to announce. They just use whatever tools they have to do to enter the home as quickly and effectively as they can in order to do X, right? And this lady, this council person, literally said it with her face on this .gov TV. She's like, "Oh my God, Chief, thank you so much for explaining that, because I literally had no idea what a no-knock warrant."
That's why we are talking about
Public Safety Committee.
Right.
You're on council. So on the, I think I told you, I got on my phone, asked Siri what a no-knock warrant is, and it told me.
Yeah.
She made no effort.
Because a lot of them don't care about it until the issue's in their face.
Just didn't care.
Yeah. Well, we're doing this podcast to talk about the real things that so many other people can't, because we have a lot of law enforcement colleagues that we work with, or some that we haven't, but they're all concerned the same way. But we can talk more. The assistant city manager, Maria Villagomez, is in charge of public safety. She has no clue, yet she's running the show on these things.
She's absolutely right.
She's running the show on these things. She's the puppet master of the chief of police. And as derogatory as that might sound,
it's not.
But it's true. I mean, it's more so in layman's terms. So they banned no-knock warrants, okay, which I brought something up that I looked at as well, because not only and there's always somebody that they refer to and go, well, the expert said also that no-knock warrants are no good. You know what I mean? So they always, a lot of times, if they can find that person, that
a person,
or even an entity that supports their argument, no matter how small of a percentage they make in that argument. Okay. So the NTOA, the National Tactical Officers Association, you're familiar with those people, right? Huge national, mind you. They have also said that no-knock warrants are a thing of the past, and that they're dangerous and they shouldn't be used. And what does it say here? We can all agree that there is no easy answer, but there is a correct answer. No-knock search warrants, though well-intended, no longer pass the test of tactical science, risk mitigation practices, and liability-conscious decision-making.
Okay. So the last part is what matters most to everybody, the liability aspect of it.
Yeah. Oh, always.
But you know how fast that would change? So we're 140 miles from the border. And people don't like to talk about this, but there's a huge influence of Mexican narcotics cartel.
100%. Yeah.
And they're here, and there are people here. They have people that are running it, soldados and lieutenants, mid-level people, and the gangs here, and they're moving them. And when that will happen, is when someone's at one of these malls and somebody decides to walk up. And when these guys come, they don't come one guy like the gangsters on the east side or the south side. They come 3 or 4 with automatic weapons, and they just mow people down. When that happens, and it's drug related, or people start getting killed, or officers start getting killed, all of those mind shifts will change. Yeah. Because now they're going to ask, what are we doing about it? Well, you should stay ahead of the curve, right? And I understand that people want to change for the better. Change is always good.
Sure.
But change has to have a reason, right? Like you have to really understand what you're doing. And you just can't blanket everything by doing away with these things because that's what people think you should do.
But everything they're saying here, that could have been said years ago back when we were running it anyway. You know, it's all, a lot of this verbiage is fluff at the time to sell what they're trying to sell. Of course, there's risks in everything.
Yeah.
There's risks in a patrol officer. You know, we're sitting here, third floor. I'm looking at the highway. I've seen a couple of police cars drive by. Those guys are at risk. If they make a traffic stop, there's risk.
They're more at risk.
They're more at risk because they usually stop the unknown.
Yeah.
But, you know, this situation, well-intended, well-trained. Yes, we do that. You know, that's the whole point. Yes, we know there's risk involved of loss of life, serious bodily injury, no doubt. You and I have had friends dead already, right? We had 3 of our classmates killed within the first year.
Almost 4.
Yeah, almost 4 with that. So we still kept going. We still did the job. We still put ourselves in those places. You know, I got shot chasing a car thief. I didn't stop chasing people.
Yeah.
I kept going. And I'm not trying to make this about me, but I knew the risk. I just had to get better.
You can't have a policing or agency that doesn't incorporate and take on risk. I mean, that's just not possible.
No, 100%.
Because what people don't say, and no one wants to say it, that there's 1% of the people out there that just don't respond to anything except police officers and that are going to come with them in a very decisive way and take them where they need to go. And that's just the only thing they understand.